Professor Wergeles here, continuing with the lecture. We are almost finished with this lecture. I'm going to show you a few more things you can do with the values given. So this formula, I'm going to set back. I was just showing you an example of what you could do. Here's my finalized formula. Let's see what else we can change. Now, we haven't used phases yet. Phases is from negative pi to positive pi. So you'll see here I have some examples when we are playing the audio file. Here's 0.7, negative 0.1, negative 0.14 to positive 1.3. So it's going to be from negative pi to positive pi. And when I was thinking about this, this would be perfect for rotating an image around a circle. Okay, so if I'm going to rotate an image, I could use positive pi to negative pi. I can multiply it if I wanted the values larger. So what I'm going to do is rotate the images on the display. So the first image was C. We used the set rotate function before, so I'm going to use it again. I'm just going to put phases directly in and see what happens on the display. Let's just do one at a time. So I'm going to rotate C, and let's see what happens. If I play, you see I get a little bit of movement there, but it's not much. Okay, so I want to move this image a lot more and get more action on the display. So I can change how much it's rotating. So if it's negative pi to positive pi, that's about 3, maybe 6 degrees that I'm rotating, so not much. And when I can move the display 360 degrees. So if I scroll up, you'll see I have a phase multiplier. So now I'm multiplying it by 360 degrees. Now this may be too much because if I'm multiplying it by 3, so I'm going to rotate several times. So depending on what you want to do, let's try a little bit at a time so we can see this. So let's say I multiply by 50. So now it'd be 3.14 multiplied by 50, so approximately 150. If I look at this on the display, so it can go from negative 150 to positive 150. Looking at this on the display, you'll see I get a little bit more action there. Okay, so I can change the song. And I'm going to increase the value here. So let's try 150. So if I multiply 150 by 3, it'll probably be at 450 degrees, maybe a little bit more. So if I play this, okay, you'll see some more movement. What I ended up doing was multiplying by 360. So I'm going to multiply by 360. So let's see this, which is my phase multiplier. And I'm going to do this for all 4 images. So I'm going to do it with C. I'm going to do it with O1, O2, and the L image. Now let's make sure you change the phase array index. And this was my final formula. Now I get a lot of action on phases 0, but I don't get as much action on phases 3. So multiplying by 360 on phases 3 works out well, but multiplying by 360 on phase 0 may be a little bit too much. So depending on what you're trying to get the display to do, you can set the values accordingly. So if I look at this, you'll see the red one is moving nicely. These are fine. The C has a lot of action, but I am getting some movement. You'll see the red one on this song is activated more because it has higher frequencies than the previous song. Okay, enjoy the free music provided from this lecture. I have one more thing to show. I want to show you how you can also change colors. So we've changed radius on ellipses. We've changed the location. We could do X or Y depending on the location of the ellipse. We're a rotating object. Let's also change the color. So on the ellipses, I'm going to set fill. So I'm going to set the color, and I'm going to use an HSB. Okay, so this is going to be hue, saturation, and brightness. You'll see I have different values here. I can also specify the opacity. Okay, so if I specify 3 parameters, the first is going to be the hue, which is the color, then the saturation, then the brightness. If I specify 4, I can also specify the opacity. So I'm going to use 4 values. The first value is going to be magnitudes. Okay, you'll notice I use magnitudes a lot. And hue should be from 0 to 360. Okay, it should be from 0 to 360 depending on the specification. So I've opened up the Java doc. You'll see hue is in degrees. Okay, so from 0 to 360 degrees. Saturation is from 0 to 1. Brightness is from 0 to 1. And opacity is from 0 to 1. So usually in degrees, you'll say from 0 to 360, which will be the corresponding color. So I'm going to multiply this by negative 6.0 because magnitude is going to be from 0 to negative 60. So if it's negative 60 multiplied by negative 6, it should be positive 360 degrees. Now I'm going to put 1.0 here, 1.0 here for the brightness, and 1.0 for the opacity. Now I'm going to do this for all 4. Okay, so I'm going to change the index as well as which ellipse I'm setting. And let's run this. Okay, if I do play, you'll see I have different colors now. It's going to start out with red and go all the way up to blue. You'll see green, you'll see some yellows based off the corresponding decimal value. So now I'm getting a lot of movement. I'm getting vertical y-axis movement. I'm changing the radius. I'm moving these based off degrees, based off negative pi to positive pi, and also changing the colors. Now this is far from the visualizer that we saw in iTunes, but we're making some good progress. You can see some of the actions that we're able to do, and you can apply these to your challenge. So we're moving X and Y, we're changing the rotation, we're setting the color. There's a lot more that we can do, but these are some basic examples. I want to show you how you can switch songs, which is similar to trying to change a timeline. There was something that we had to do. So continue to the next video, and I'll show you how you can switch songs while the music's playing. We'll see you in the next video.